tonight on the show. We're crazy and abused, but I don't know what I think every time I turn it on. The tells me something and it's never the same song. It's asinine to me.
It's asinine to you.
I'm crazy as a person that's locked behind the blues, but what I should know is what you should see, because it's asinine, it's asinine, it's asinine to me.
Alright.
It's not really a song, but we'll move along.
We'll workshop it. We'll put it in front of some, what are those things called? Groups that tell you if things are good or not. You know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
I was just thinking about Matt. Matt's so dreamy.
I'm a dreamy.
So I don't actually hear what he
Focus
says.
groups. We'll focus group that. See how it works.
We're not very good at focusing.
Is this like a Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah.
We
Give us money.
Thank you, that'll be all. Give us money.
That was a short announcement. Asinine, we just want your money.
Ben Shapiro, if you're hearing this,
He's not hearing this.
there goes the money. Our mascot's going crazy right now.
Gone crazy.
What are we actually talking about?
I don't know. You're in charge of that, Jesse.
No, I was just thinking about Matt still.
Oh, okay.
What did we talk about tonight?
Jews?
We talked about a little bit of everything. So I think we should split up into a couple categories. Let's talk about, let's get the big stuff out of the way first. Let's talk about politics.
All right.
So let's go and kick it off right. I think it'd be fun to talk about, are you trying to fist bump?
No, I was doing the... let's kick it off right,
I thought you were
everybody.
trying to get the side bump.
Heidi ho!
Pints of Guinness.
I think it'd be fun to talk about...
Sex?
Well, we can get into sex, but how about protesting on college campuses? Because I think it's crazy that we think about higher education as this free speech and place where you're supposed to learn knowledge and experience new things. And I want to go to college because I want to be an independent person. But then we have safe spaces, and you can't talk about anything that's outside your realm, or we're going to protest you. Like they protest Ben Shapiro and stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty interesting topic.
I agree with Matt that the left has taken over college campuses.
I disagree with that.
You're throwing the blows. I was just setting it up.
I was just agreeing.
I think, I disagree with shutting down speakers, but I also, by the same token, you shouldn't then ban protests against the speakers. It's a fine line. I think recently colleges have not walked it appropriately. They've walked it too far to the shutting down the speaker side, as opposed to letting the protesters, they're letting the protesters hear their voice a little bit too much. That sounds weird, but we need to be able to find a line where letting one person speak their view without feeling their life threatened, but still being able to express your disagreement with that view.
I got a couple.
And recently, we've not done that correctly.
He's too smart for this show.
Well, a couple things on that, and I definitely
Whatever.
I definitely kind of like what Ben Shapiro's been saying, is that we don't like to be contested, and I think that's the whole point of learning something, because you can't learn if you don't understand where other people are coming from. So I get protests. It's cool, protest all you want. First of all, don't get violence, because violence is stupid. Damaging people's property, especially Quick Trips, is very dumb. But I think at the same time is we're supposed to come to a place where we can learn. And we can learn people that think differently than me, because, I was dumb before I went to college, and I still am kind of dumb. But as far as learning and the experience, when I went to college, I never thought about trade skills and how important trade skills are to our economy and just in general how they fit into society. It's not about, going to college is always the right thing. Well, now I've kind of differed on that. Just with some of the political atmosphere and how college has turned into jobs. But as far as going and speaking, people have different mindsets on whether it's Black Lives Matter or whether it's the political state of the economy or the political state of elections or wherever's going on in the country. People tend to politicize everything, and they're out there protesting. They're out there protesting Ben Shapiro and calling him a neo-Nazi when he was number one on the most anti-defamation leagues list. He was number one being attacked. So it's just weird to me how we've turned everything into a political conversation when it doesn't need to be that way.
I agree with Matt. Don't go to college. Just whatever he takes up is going to spin in some other fucking way. I don't know.
What do you think, Jesse, though? I mean, what do you think about some of the stuff?
No, I think it's ridiculous. I think, I think the way to combat speech is more speech. So I like freedom of speech. I don't like people being shut down. I don't care who's going to speak either. I actually really enjoy, other than Ben Shapiro, I also like Milo Yiannopoulos, which everybody hates Milo, but still. I feel like he should be able to go anywhere and speak and say what he wants to say. And the way you combat that is with more speech, not just stopping certain people from speaking, because the only people who ever get stopped from speaking are people on the right.
Protests do make good YouTube videos.
I don't think that's entirely true. Like recently, that's been the case, but I don't think that's historically true.
Well, people on the left shouldn't be able to speak, so it's the only part I care about.
There you go.
Yeah, but I can't. Who on the left has been stopped from speaking at a college campus that you know of? I was at one where. When I was in college...
Recently, no. I agreed with you recently. I'm just saying it's not really a left or right thing. In this moment in time, it's been predominantly applied against right-wing speakers, but that's just because of this particular moment in time and the particular zeitgeist. It's not an actual, like, some sort of fundamental truth that lefties are allowed to always speak and righties always get oppressed. That's, if anything, that's probably anti-historical. It's the opposite of what's historically more common.
That's definitely not true.
All right, so tell me, like, Eugene Du Bois, was he allowed to speak at college campuses?
Who's that?
Yeah, see, exactly.
I mean, I can tell you who he is. Shapiro.
Because of the right-wing conspiracy to suppress his memory.
Yeah. What about Frederick Davis?
Frederick Davis was stopped from a lot of... But no, actually, he would probably be Republican these days. He would be. If you haven't read Frederick Douglass, maybe you laugh. But you go read his quotes and you'll be like, Jesse was right.
You're talking about Frederick Douglass.
I said Davis.
I
said Davis.
I was thinking Frederick Davis.
I thought he said
completely different person. No, I'm just giving Matt a hard time. Yes, no, Frederick.
I guess screw with me now. We were talking about Frederick Douglass, right?
No, that's who Matt was talking
Davis
about. He said Davis.
Oh, maybe you meant Jefferson Davis? Is that
No,
I meant Frederick Douglass.
No. Frederick Douglass was a Republican.
Yes.
Is that the joke you were going with, or?
No, I was just saying I think he'd be Republican these days.
Right. No, but you were saying it like you would shift parties.
People back
then.
then.
Go from being a Republican to a Republican?
No, but you asked, would he be allowed to speak as if he was some crazy...
No, I asked about Eugene Du Bois.
Okay, well...
Famous 1920s socialist.
Fuck. This isn't Jeopardy, dude. This isn't Jeopardy, okay? I know who both of them are, okay?
Okay.
I can't give you every fucking thing they did in their whole lives, but I can tell you... And I don't even know exactly his political alignment.
Right, well, I'm just saying you're making an assertion that throughout history, historically, right-wing people have been denied their freedom of speech more often than left-wing ideologues.
Yes.
And I don't think you can back that up.
No, I'm just saying, based on what's going on today, I can't.
Now, do we have to rebrand so people understand that Republicans, Democrats switched? Because a lot of people don't understand that.
People are really dumb when they say that.
Yeah.
You don't believe it. Maybe you believe it.
They completely
it's not found.
I don't even know what Jesse's trying to say right now.
I'm just trying to be nice. You don't believe that, do you? You don't believe that they switched, that the parties just flipped? Because that's ridiculous.
No, it was it wasn't a single moment in time, but they have generally the base that made up the Democratic Party, the political base of the Democratic Party, shifted over time to the Republican base, to make up the Republican base. And a big motivator, not the only one, but a big motivator of that shift was the civil rights reforms in the 1960s that pushed a lot of pro-segregation Democrats into the camps, into the Republican Party. And that's a big part of the shifting of focus. If you go back to early Republicans, Teddy Roosevelt, these were famous progressives. Teddy Roosevelt was a progressive. Republicans founded progressivism.
Was he an aggressive
progressive?
When did this happen exactly, Chris?
The shift from over the course of 75 years.
It was October 13th of 1964.
Beginning in probably the election of 1912 when Teddy Roosevelt ran on Bold News Party and split the Republican ticket.
So when did it finally switch over? Because I mean, I just have information and I'm just holding on and I'm just playing with you a little bit.
Well, I mean, probably, I don't know that you could define it. They're probably...
Just curious.
There's probably a good... the beginnings of the switch under Nixon. And I would say kind of finalize it. I know this is what you're wanting me to say.
Come on, I want you to say it, please.
I would say it finalized itself into its current configuration under Reagan. But I wouldn't say that he was the motivator.
So it took all those years, because Jimmy Carter, just want to point out, what year was that? Was that 19?
Yeah, he was part of the switch.
He won like the entire South.
Right.
I just want to point that out to everybody.
Right.
And then Reagan, who was extremely popular, people go, oh yeah, well he's the one who switched to the South. Well, let me just point out that he actually switched over 49 states. Okay, he didn't just, it's not like he turned them all red, but they voted for him because Mondale sucked. So let's not just say like, oh, they just switched, it's
before
racist
Carter,
or
before Carter.
Yeah, but and that's why I didn't just say that, Jesse.
Because you knew I was going to get you.
No, because you were trying to create a straw man. No one's actually arguing that.
No, here's the thing.
No one's actually arguing that.
I was a predator. I was a predator and you were prey.
Well, I evaded you.
I let you crawl out there and I let you like do your little thing and get your little seeds and stuff, and then boom, you were fucking dead.
Except I wasn't. You didn't even disprove anything I said.
It reminds me of
nothing I said was
Jamie and Tyrion.
Oh no!
Show like when they're in the pen talking about the bugs.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I love that Tyrion story. This served you, what is it?
It's funny how he thinks that he's like won something here.
I got it. He was slow. It was a slow, but I feel...
You didn't catch me at all. Because I didn't say what you think I said.
I feel good about it. It doesn't matter.
Do you see what happens when liberals speak? They just eventually walk themselves into a hole.
Mm-hmm. I didn't, though.
And that's why we should allow more speech, because they're dumb.
I agree that we need to allow more speech.
Actually, none of us are really super conservative. I think as of lately... the highly politicized atmosphere has pushed you more conservative, Jesse. But
bullshit! Because I defend Trump, who's not a conservative?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in general, like the attack against conservatives have made you...
Oh, no,
that's what I'm saying. Not that you as a person, because we've always been more...
Yeah, because there have been zero attacks against liberals in the past decade or
Can you name one?
Yeah, I can.
Not other than the sex scandals that got you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Barack Obama's not a U.S. citizen.
Oh, everybody knew he was.
Oh, but so what? They're just having fun?
Hey,
do you think there was that many people who really believed?
Yes, no, I do.
The only people who, I'm sorry.
No, it's obviously true. It's obviously true. You can go through, if we had a time machine, I could take you back in time. People really believed that. Donald Trump himself really believed it. He really believed it.
So
it's obvious he really believed
Let me go back, on this Donald Trump part. Would you say that Donald Trump also believes that Ted Cruz's dad had to do with possibly assassinating JFK? Do you think that Donald Trump believed that, or do you just threw that out there? Do you think Donald Trump...
I don't know about that, but this is before he was running for president. This was he brought up the Obama thing.
Yeah, the Ted Cruz thing came after that.
Right.
So do you also think that when he brought up that Ted Cruz possibly couldn't run because Ted Cruz was born in Canada, did you think he also believed that too?
I think it's just a possibility.
It's not unrelated.
It is unrelated. No, because they're separate issues. No, if he can have just thrown out Cruz's thing and have believed Obama's thing.
So you don't think that if he would have believed one, that somebody possibly being born in another country, that there was no proof of, but the other person actually being born in another country, even though he still had U.S. citizenship and he was just throwing out random shit, you don't think he just throws out random shit?
No, he obviously does throw out random shit.
Don't tell me what Trump knows.
He can't. It's him throwing out random shit in one situation does not negate the possibility of believing something in another situation.
Sure it does.
You take a look at the statements, at the context surrounding when they were made,
well, he said
and what he has to gain and lose, and all of this other stuff. I mean, if we take him at his word, he invested a bunch of money in a super top-notch investigative team to uncover a whole bunch of incriminating information on Obama not being born in the U.S., and he had that information and was going to release it any day. We're still waiting on that. I'd like to see it, but he's still sitting tight on it, just like the JFK files.
He's released the JFK files.
Hey,
But
no,
national
not all of
security
them.
issues.
He said he was going to release all of them, and he didn't. I'm sensing a pattern here. What's Trump got to hide, America? What does Trump have to hide?
Everything.
It's
Trump
exactly-
has skeletons upon skeletons just stacking up in his closet.
They're actual skeletons.
Of those who opposed him.
Well,
I hope so. I haven't seen Barack Obama speak in a while. Probably Jeb Bush is in there too.
oh, Jeb.
Nothing's going on there.
I guess they're kicking me out.
Waste any breath defending Jeb Bush, that's for sure.
Are you sure? Because CNN has just been breathlessly Bush Senior just from
so
they've been breathlessly putting out there how
Exactly.
Trump doesn't know
One
what it's like to
reason
be
that I've always
president
had a problem with CNN, and not because they're a liberal establishment, but because they're a corporate sellout establishment.
Does anybody else feel bad for George Bush Senior though? He looks pretty bad.
Did you guys hear the?
He got involved in a sexual harassment thing too.
That's what I was
Did he
going to
say-
say.
He grabbed the girl's butt
He
during a
didn't.
picture.
He didn't actually grab her butt though. He's in a
said-
fucking wheelchair. No, he said he's sorry that happened because he accidentally brushed her butt when he was putting his arm around her. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he actually said he apologized for it. He apologized
Whose
for it.
butt was this?
There was two women who said that he brushed their butts.
Remember, I don't think it's anyone.
And then he made a crude joke or something.
That's what she said.
And then what his wife said, or I think it was his wife said later, was like, "Oh no, he just tries to make jokes to get people to calm
It's like
down
an
a little bit."
icebreaker, yeah.
That's what he does. And it was an accident. The guy's in a fucking wheelchair. So all this stuff is just bullshit. I don't think.
At least he didn't use a cigar. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
He could have used a cigar, Chris.
I'm sure CNN probably ran zero stories about Clinton, but as soon as guy in wheelchair brushes girl's butt.
Sure.
He's a Republican. Oh, I know.
CNN ran zero stories about Clinton-Lewinsky. Is that your assertion right now?
I'm pretty sure.
That's what you're saying? Okay.
Does CNN exist back then?
I'll let that statement stand for
I'm
itself.
fairly sure. I don't think that we'd have a fact checker.
All right.
Right?
Well, I mean, you guys know what happened. Most of you can remember, and those who can't, you have Google, so.
There was really not much on the internet then, so. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to look for I don't know where they're going to find it.
They're going to find plenty.
They're not going to find it. Fox News would have ran it, but CNN would have hit it just like they hit everything else.
Sure.
But you mean they hit the corruption in the DNC? And about how the DNC was totally rigged against Bernie Sanders?
What's funny, because I pay attention to a lot of Fox and CNN, and Fox, and that would be that's their main story before this mass shooting. That was their main story, was all the DNC stuff. So anytime they can use it to bash to the side, and then CNN doesn't run the story. Conversely, when stuff goes on, like when they're bashing either Bill O'Reilly or something else, and they'd have it, and that's the top story on CNN, Fox News, of course, doesn't run those ones. So there is, whatever. Either way, CNN's corrupt.
Yeah. No, I've always agreed that CNN was corrupt. I've agreed. I gave up on them a long time ago, ever since the Iraq War.
Nate Silver sucks too.
I love Nate Silver. I mean, he might be getting corrupt now that he's rolling in all that statistics money, but...
His polling was terrible, by the way.
I mean, I like his speaking style. I like how he lays out clearly his reasoning and the data behind it, and he gives you the data so you can make your own decisions.
I think Nate Silver...
And he's been called on making some incorrect interpretations a few times. People look at the data and they say, hey, your conclusion isn't supported, and then he admits it, and that's what I like about him. No one's perfect.
I mean, but...
We should all aspire to be more like Nate Silver. Like the news media should.
Whoa.
No. I don't mean liberal. I mean in terms of presentation of the news, in terms of that kind of
they do
education.
I would agree. I like some of their articles are pretty well stated, but and throughout the campaign, it was fun to look at some of the articles and the polling data. But at the same time, it's still slanted. It's still biased.
Who's your example, Jesse, of what the news should aspire to be?
You should be like Jesse Duckworth.
Okay, no, you can't pick yourself or anyone in this room.
No, then I'm out.
And you can't pick Brant.
Jesus?
You can't. No, you have to pick a real person.
I have a
Chris is the most religious one out of us, and he's like, no, you can't pick Jesus. He's not real. just for the sake of argument, he's not real right now.
No, living current news person. Who would you pick?
Elon Musk? No, I'm just fuck Elon Musk.
Not a news person.
I know, I was just joking. Bill O'Reilly was the fucking man. I don't care what these people are saying about him. Don't talk about Bill O'Reilly. Don't talk shit about Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, he was so fair and
nonpartisan,
fair and balanced?
Oh yeah, totally fair and balanced. He never
He's definitely not
tilted an
balanced.
argument or
Actually, he was probably, in
slanted
terms of
his
Fox,
show.
in terms of Fox, he was one of the most fair people to Obama.
Sure,
I promise you.
I'll agree with that.
You don't even watch Fox.
No.
You don't know shit.
It doesn't matter. I don't have to. That's like
I don't even
saying
have to watch it because
that's like saying a campfire is cold compared to the sun. Yes,
That's a stupid
That's true.
analogy.
It is cold compared to the sun. But is it cold? No, it's not cold.
Are you trying to be a predator? Because you can't be a predator. You're like,
Do you feel preyed upon?
no, you're preying upon me.
Well,
Yes. So then I'm a predator.
obviously Fox News is super great, but
Don't you talk shit about Greg Gutfeld? Don't talk shit about.
Loser.
Don't talk shit about Tucker Carlson.
do not say
Pathetic.
Tucker. Do not
I
say
like Tucker Carlson.
Tucker.
Do you watch Tucker Carlson?
I've
I love
watched.
Tucker
I've
Carlson.
watched a couple of his skits.
And you're not doing your.
I like to call them skits because that's what they are. Predetermined speech. That's the problem with CNN and Fox. It's predetermined. Gotcha. But that's why people like Adam McGinnis are so funny because they come on there and they chop it up. You know what I mean? They don't really know what the hell he's going to say.
I like that.
So that's fun because
Gavin's funny.
The whole script.
Yeah. I mean, I agree Gavin's
The
funny.
whole
I don't
script process of
agree
like.
with a lot of what he says, but he's pretty funny most of the time when he says it.
Hilarious.
I'm going to ask these set of questions and dare not to ask these set of questions because it's going to go against my political bias. I mean, Bill O'Reilly was not as mainstream as
a god.
the rest of them, but I think Bill O'Reilly still has a lot of skeletons, and I think that Bill O'Reilly still has a lot of issues that went on at Fox. He was part of the hierarchy that had the issues.
Well, we don't have all the information yet. I'm waiting on, because at least for the big pieces of that story, like the information isn't released yet. So I'm going to give him his day in court. Because it's not like he doesn't have like Harvey Weinstein type numbers. I think he has 5 cases that were against him over 25 years or something like
It's
that.
certainly not Donald Trump.
But why do they have any
No,
numbers?
come on,
It's
Donald Trump
ridiculous.
shit.
It's
Where have those Donald Trump stories gone? Because like, here's what I'm saying.
Well,
As
okay.
much as CNN wants to bash Donald Trump,
I mean,
where are those stories now? You think they wouldn't want to run them if they had a really solid story? Oh, they would fucking love it. If they could put Donald Trump in prison, I swear to God, oh, they would run the shit out of it. You
They
don't believe
did
that?
run the shit out of it.
And they would hit us over the head with it every day. They still have fucking stupid articles about how he hasn't released his taxes yet, or Donald Trump likes ketchup on his steak. You know?
Well,
They-
yeah,
ooh.
that was on CNN.
Oh, you bet your ass it was.
That sounds more like an Occupy Democrat.
No, look at. Okay, I'll show you right after this show.
No, I agree.
No, I'll show you after this show.
I'm
Jesse loves
not
Occupy
as plugged
Democrats.
into the mainstream media as you are because it's all a bunch of bullshit. But
That you
that I
believe.
don't know. What?
Why do you believe it?
I don't.
Don't play devil's advocate and
you're-
call it bullshit now.
You're trying to get me to think past the cell, Jesse.
What?
You're making me assume the premise that I believe it. So I have to then defend anything I believe as if I already agree with the news corporation, but I don't. I don't believe mainstream media.
Why do you agree with the mainstream media?
See, that question. See, that's what I'm saying. That's
But he
like
does
saying,
agree with
that'd be like
mainstream
Jesse.
media.
If I look at you and say, Jesse, why are you so gay?
Because I am.
See, exactly.
I mean,
my point exactly.
It's fairly
because I like
obvious.
to be happy. Because the actual definition of gay is happiness.
Yes. I'm just
Right.
upset that I can't be with my
Jesse, why do you like sucking cock so much?
Chris, there's kids who watch this show.
Just answer the question.
They are fucking
I'm just
dumb.
asking questions. Answer the question. The people have a right to know. Answer the
Because
question.
it reminds me of a lollipop, damn it.
Okay. Thank you. That's been asinine.
He just wanted to know how many licks it goes to take to get to the center.
You guys, this show is shit.
Well, that's true. No one's debating with you.
Matt hasn't got to talk very much. Fuck, Matt.
I feel like a moderator, honestly, right
Tell
now.
us about Pennywise.
You're more like a
The
master.
new Pennywise. Is he any good?
Pennywise. I think Pennywise is the master manipulator.
Was it good? I haven't seen it.
was
Full
good?
disclosure.
I think it was really good. I think when you drive on acting out of fear instead of showing, like, you don't have to show fear. Like, you can feel the fear in the movie from how the scenes were set up and how the shots were made. I think it's really good. If more films, now they're switching on a tangent, haven't done that in the last decade. Ring was one of those movies that actually captured fear just as it did, and I think it was great. I think it was really well done. It hasn't really followed the book at all. But other than that, I mean, if you're a super book fan, probably not going to like it because you like to point out all the inconsistencies, but I think that's stupid to do.
Don't focus directly on the inconsistencies.
Well, I think it's dumb. I mean, I had an argument the other day with one of my contractors because he was really pissed off because it didn't follow the book exactly. They left so many parts out. I'm like, yeah, but there was character development. The movie was scary. It hit major the plot points that it hit were good, and so that's what I look for in a movie. I want to go into a movie and enjoy it. And if I enjoy the movie, I'm okay with it missing some of the points of the book. But Stephen King is ridiculous when he writes. He literally describes everything in his book. The book is 44 hours on Audible, and it's like 1,000+ pages. It's like reading a Game of Thrones book, and so you have to like chop it down. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with the next version. Because right now they start with the kids. The next one's gonna be with the adults. For those of you who don't know, it started as a mini-series, and it intermingled both kids and adults throughout the series. So I thought they did a really good job at just keeping it focused on the kids, and you got to see the acting through the kids and their eyes, and I think whoever did the casting did a very well job. It's no Judgment Night, but it was good.
But what is? All right, speaking of Judgment Night, Jesse, what's your favorite movie from the 80s?
They don't know any of the movies. Okay, these people.
No.
My favorite movie is Conan the Barbarian, but they don't know that. They don't even know what Conan is.
Tell us.
I'm not going to tell everybody about Conan.
Conan was filmed in 1979.
Conan was not filmed in 79. Conan was filmed in 1982, the same year. Well, I think it was filmed in 1981, but it came out in 1982, same year I was born. So don't lie and don't spin the crap.
What is the best soundtrack of all time, Jesse?
It's also Conan the Barbarian.
What?
It is not. It might just be a coincidence that the best film ever also has the best soundtrack ever.
All right, that's a coincidence.
And it has. I mean, and not to mention, it also had a lot of diversity. One of the main characters is James Earl Jones. Who plays
What is the greatest male action star of all time?
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Whoa, okay. Tell us more about that.
Do we see a bias here, people? There's definitely a running list of bias here.
Now, you can either say that I'm biased, or that it isn't a coincidence that the greatest actor plays in the greatest movie with the greatest soundtrack.
It's bullshit. He's not the greatest actor.
It's better. What's better than
It's about the Tuma.
Let's shift gears a little bit. What is the greatest sword and sorcery story of all time?
That would have to be the second Conan.
Conan the Barbarian?
Really? Wow. I just was going random there. I thought maybe if I pick a random subject, we'll get away from Conan, but I guess I can't.
No, are you saying that the best story of all time led to the best movie by the best actor with the best soundtrack?
I'm not saying anything.
You think that this is a coincidence? I just think it all. Sometimes things fall into place.
What is the best sidekick of all time?
It's Subutai.
What's Subutai from?
Subutai's from Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, shit.
Are you saying that the greatest sidekick in the greatest movie with the greatest actor of all time with the greatest soundtrack and the greatest film of all time is also some kind of coincidence?
It is.
Stranger things have happened.
Hey, Jesse, one more question, just to wrap it up here.
Right.
The best villain of all time.
It's Tulsa Doom.
What?
Are you telling me that the greatest villain with the greatest sidekick and the greatest actor in the greatest movie with the greatest soundtrack, and there's another greatest in there, do you think that's a coincidence?
It's very convincing.
I'll leave that up for greater minds than mine to decide.
Well, that's not going to take much.
One thing we do know,
they also have the greatest wizard.
It doesn't fit in epic adventure at all. So it does not fit that category. So therefore, it could not be the greatest film, could not be the greatest actor, and the greatest sidekick, and greatest soundtrack of all time because it's not epic. So that's all I gotta say.
It gets a 6.9 on IMDb, and it would be higher if it wasn't for the top 1,000.
Hey Chris, what's the Lord of the Rings get on IMDb?
I don't follow those rankings.
It's a liberal conspiracy. Actually, it gets like an 8.7.
And I disagree with that because hobbits are terrible characters. Hobbits are the worst character ever designed in film ever.
Since you guys are so well versed in IMDb rankings, what is the most outrageously high ranked movie on IMDb.
Return of the King.
You mean
Lord
what's
of the
number
Rings.
one or what?
Which one is ranked way too high for the type of movie it is?
Well, I
Return of
think
the
Fight
King.
Club is in the top 20 movies of all time.
And you disagree with that?
I disagree.
Yeah, I would just, and I think
Fight Club.
I'm not big on Fight Club.
You're one of the few people.
Well, it's because it's not
You
just
can't
Fight
talk
Club.
about it. How can you like a movie if you can't talk about it? I think it's total bullshit.
Well,
that betrays that you actually kind of like it, Matt.
No, Our camera just died. It's Saturday night. But it's actually Sunday because my mind feels like a pancake. I don't know what to sing. It's Saturday night. I don't really care what time. Damn it.
I think it's Sunday night.
I know, but my mind is backwards.
It's still Sunday.
I'm on the upside down.
Nobody knows that.
It's daylight savings time. You're right, I forgot.
It's asinine. My camera just died. But it's Sunday night, but I think it's Saturday, but that's alright, 'cause it's Sunday, but it's Saturday, but I don't care what day it is. I got my best friends, that's all I care about. Even my guitar strings say it is. It's asinine. My buddy's all mine. I got my Jesse, he's my best friend. He does see me, he loves Conan, even though Star Wars is the best symphony.
I know.
It's asinine, bitches. That's who we beat.
Not his best friend, that was me, apparently. I'm not good enough to get mentioned in the song.
I didn't mention you.
Did you?
I was actually groomsman number 3. He was number 5.
Yeah, I was way down there at the bottom.
I did have 12.
He had 12. He was number 5. So what were we talking about?
We were talking about Conan, and then and it's ranking on IMDb. So then I wanted to know what movie on IMDb is the most overrated, as in it has the highest score compared to where it should actually be ranked, in your opinion.
Oh, my phone's about to die. Or I would
So you guys know so much about IMDb.
Well, I used to really study it, and back in the day, I think it's probably the same.
You said
the top couple of Godfathers are all the way at the top. Lord of the Rings, I know at least one of them.
Return of the King. I think there's no reason Return of the King should be at the top of any list, especially with the stupidest, dumbest army in the history of all armies.
Well, I think that's actually the worst of the 3.
It's terrible.
That's right. But Pulp Fiction, I think, is also.
Oh look, Mr. Frodo, Olifants.
It kind of sounds like Sam.
Do.
Oh, now Clerks.
3 movies.
Yeah, Clerks should be higher than that fucking movie.
Maybe you could get a little more original with your criticisms.
Well,
I think that's a pretty obvious criticism. They walk up
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
what I'm saying. So it's a little low. It's like low hanging fruit. Let's get creative.
Why did they
No, but
fly
Return of the
around?
King-
You're disappointing. I'm looking for something good here. And
but
you're
Return of the King is actually
Clerks 2.
no, but Return of the King is at the top of the list. It's ridiculous. There is no reason for Clerks 2 to be anywhere in the top 20 movies of all time.
You mean?
I mean, yes. There is no reason for Clerks. There is no reason
You
for
heard
Clerks
it here
2.
first, Kevin Smith. Matt.
There is no reason for
Thank
Clerks
you.
2 to be anywhere in the top 20 list. Just the same reason there is no reason for Return of the King to be anywhere near the top of the list.
So what should be at the top besides Conan?
Well,
Just for sake of argument.
what should be at the top? One of the original Friday the 13th movies. You know, anything that's original that depicts a drama. Well, I think anything that's original, any OG statement, I think that depicts history, that you can see a turning point in history.
Depicts history? Friday the 13th depicts history?
But slasher films, like horror movies, were like a time like you take your girl to the drive-in movie. It was like a thing in history. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean they represent cultural?
Yes, any turning point in history where you have something Citizen Kane. Mm-hmm. Psycho, they're up there at the tops, but those should be. Those are awesome movies. Night of the Living Dead, those are great movies, you know, because they were a turning point for history. They were some of the original screenplays. I like those. You know, Bram Stoker's, I can't remember his name. Dracula, yeah. The original Frankenstein movies. Those are all good movies, but I wouldn't say they're top 20 of all time. But Citizen Kane could definitely be a top 20 movie of all time. Psycho is easily one of the top movies of all time.
The problem you get with top 20 movies is you're going to have a lot of movies between like 10 and 200
that are fairly equal. That, I mean, I don't know that you can pick 20 movies that all those 20 movies are clearly better than every other movie behind it.
I think
I could do that.
I think I could do that too.
I can do that right now.
That's your homework.
Chris is indecisive. Chris is
That's your homework
indecisive.
for next week. I'm saying, like, you'll say number 10 is what?
The 13th Warrior.
All right, you'll say number 10 is the 13th Warrior. I'm like, oh yeah, well, what about...
The Patriot? That's down there too.
All right.
Just wait for it.
Then what about Mad Max?
Mad Max is there.
Okay. Then what about Conan?
It's also there.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird?
What about Star Wars?
Star Wars. Actually, 3 of the Star Wars movies are there.
Okay.
And Aliens is there.
Aliens.
And Alien is there.
Okay.
And Pandorum is on that list.
Okay.
And then there's probably another 30 movies in the top 10.
All right. That's exactly the point I was trying to make. Thank you very much for making it for me.
Well, they're not. They're still top 10 movies.
All right.
I don't know what your,
That's my
what's
point.
your point?
You can't. There's a bunch of movies you can call top 10. That
I mean,
even though
Would you
more
put Avatar?
than
Would you put
top 10.
Avatar in the top 20 movies?
No, I wouldn't.
I think it had no lasting power. That was its biggest problem.
I know.
It's
I can
still-
tell you
it's
what
still-
movie
it's still the top
wouldn't make
200.
it anywhere near any top of list for me, unless you're saying top of crappy, shitty movies that that America should be ashamed of.
I mean, Avatar is definitely one of those movies.
No, there's one clear movie that tops it.
What's that?
You know what it is.
Please tell me.
Please tell me. I'm intrigued.
It's Top Gun, obviously.
Oh,
You
Jesus
son of a bitch. Don't talk shit on
That's
Top Gun.
bullshit.
That is the worst.
That is the most un-American thing you
it's
could have
the
ever
worst
said.
movie ever.
It is not a terrible
Seriously.
movie.
It's-
It has
it's
love.
awful.
It has romance. It has valor.
It has gay volleyball. It has planes. Pew, pew,
That is bullshit. That is taken away from the gays. It is sexual
This
volleyball.
guy loves the fucking Star Wars movies, and they do the pew 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 thing all the time. And he's like, oh, there's stupid fighter plane. Pew, 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 pew.
That's
actually-
the only good thing about
No.
the movie. It's the planes. That's the only good thing about that movie.
It had character development.
No, I think Chris is just pissed off because if he was any character, he would be Goose, and Goose dies.
Yes.
So Chris is upset that his character fucking died again.
No, I'd love to be a martyr for something.
No.
You know,
He wasn't a martyr. He died in training.
yeah, he was a martyr for
Well-
better training protocols.
That's fucked up. What about people actually... Goose was based on a real person.
Okay, well,
No, he
I
wasn't.
apologize. Goose and his family.
He was not. That's not true.
And it had piano playing. It had music.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Great balls of fire.
Yeah, no, it was actually...
Another good soundtrack. Top Gun. Top Gun had a great soundtrack.
Top Gun did.
Top Gun had a fucking great
Wow.
soundtrack. You know what another great soundtrack was? Come on, Jesse.
Which one?
My movie, man. Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle. I don't remember much about Iron Eagle.
We're not gonna take it.
Iron Eagle.
No, we're not gonna take it.
That was one of the most, when I was a kid, that was one of the most iconic music videos that I've ever seen. The Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It. It's great.
Iron Eagle's a great movie too.
You haven't seen it?
No.
You've never seen Iron
So
Eagle?
I can't comment.
No, he hasn't. I don't think he's seen the Twisted Sister
Has
video.
Chris seen
either.
anything that's an American movie?
Yeah, obviously.
Unless it's like super aggressive, progressive?
I've seen lots of American movies. Almost every movie you see is an American movie. So that's a dumb question.
Not true.
Not
It's a
true.
dumb assertion.
Not true.
All right, name a non-American movie. You probably can't.
That one
do it.
movie?
Name it.
That one
Give
movie?
me the title.
That one movie?
Not another
He
teen
can't.
movie?
He can't even name one foreign film.
Because I can't.
And
But no,
he
the
tries
pressure.
to assert
Hey,
that
I
all
think
of the films,
pressure. The Wave.
all the films are foreign films.
I can name- I
but
can
he
name
can't
a-
name a single one of them.
The Wave. The Wave is a great movie, but it's not an American movie.
Well, I think Brotherhood of the Wolf.
The Wave is not a great movie.
You didn't
It's
say a great movie, you said name a movie. And The
Okay.
Wave is an
Alright.
okay movie.
Okay.
I was naming a movie.
All right, I'll give you
I'm
that.
pretty sure Brotherhood of the Wolf is not an American movie. Or at least it's not in English.
Okay, you're naming movies. Well, I've seen The Wave because every kid in
You saw
was
Brotherhood of the
forced
Wolf
to
'cause
watch it in middle school, but I've not seen
Oh,
Brotherhood
that.
of the Wolf.
Yes, you did. I was over at Brant's with you, you son of a bitch.
Whoa, harsh words from my
I'm just
mom.
saying, we watched it together.
So, what's it about?
The Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Can you give me a little?
It was a movie in French where the guy, the Frenchman has like some kind of Native American or
I
something.
remember that now. Yeah, and they bring back a lion and spoilers.
I was
So, what about, and I think another good movie that's definitely in the top 20, Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan is
Great fucking movie.
It's a good movie. You don't like that movie either?
I like Saving Private Ryan.
Then why are you giving us that look?
You know, he's because he loves Castaway. That's why. He's a Castaway junkie.
I haven't really seen Castaway, actually. I've just seen the beginning and the end.
So, what you guys don't know, the reason we're talking about this is
That's all I've seen of it.
Chris's number one most favorite movie of all time is A Notebook. And that's because Chris loves to write love stories.
No, this is a true story. I was given a present by my wife, and it was The Notebook. And I'm just like, who is this present for? It's certainly not for me. But
are you sure you want to go any further with this story?
That's it. That's the end of the story. I don't know what you're getting at.
Elena, please don't give him any more Notebook stories.
I'm confused now. All I'm saying is she gave me a present that was for her. It wasn't for me.
But she gave you a present because she could enjoy the present. So it sounds like you didn't like her present, Chris.
She always does that.
No, she got it for herself. She didn't get it for me. She doesn't care if I liked it.
Just like the strap-on.
That's a great topic because my wife does the same. So I had this discussion because I just had my birthday, and I was telling Monica, "Are you gonna give me a present for me or for you? Like, are you gonna use my present?" Like, it was
finally getting it. Yes.
But it was a funny conversation because when you get somebody a present, you know that you're in a relationship with or your significant other, it's like. You give them something that you enjoy too, like, or is it really a present if you enjoy it too?
Who does that? I've never done that.
Neither one.
Women.
Well, I'll give a present of mutual enjoyment, but I won't give one that's only for me.
Mutual enjoyment.
No, yeah, like for instance.
It sounds like a sex toy.
Yeah. Mutual enjoyment. That reminds me of when Monica tried to give Matt me for his birthday.
Exactly.
Mutual enjoyment.
That would be a great example of mutual enjoyment. There's nothing wrong with mutual enjoyment.
That was the biggest cake I've ever seen in my life.
I wanted to say something terrible, but I'm going to stop.
But no, I think that is kind of funny when you look at, because I love, one of the things, I love giving like presents, you know, and surprising her, but like, it's funny because if you look at the different style of gifts that we do give each other, you know, it's interesting on how it relates. Because, as you said, Chris, I've gotten weird presents too. I'm like, is this really for me, or is this more for you? Right. So, I think it's pretty interesting.
Women.
I don't think so.
Chris finally admitted it, dude.
What part?
The women part.
The strap-on part? Him and Elena?
Oh, man, I think we gotta X that one.
No, it's still rolling.
We'll fix that in post.
No, I hope not.
We need the beeps in our show. I think it's a funny topic.
Wait, do you guys see the freedom of speech shit come right back around? It only hits the conservative people, but not the liberal people. So he's going to cut out pieces that I say and fuck me over.
It's like he's like Chris is one of those people that he'll comment on a post and then delete his post right below Jesse's. So everybody sees Jesse being argumentative and Chris is nowhere to be found. It's pretty great.
This sucks.
He's the biggest troller of all trolls.
Are we done then, Chris? How?
Hey, do you have anything you want to say?
No.
Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to end on?
I'm just saying it's not a coincidence that the greatest sidekick with the greatest villain and the greatest lead actor in the greatest movie with the greatest soundtrack isn't a coincidence. That's all I want to say.
That's all you want to say, Matt?
I would like to say that the best soundtrack ever made, it would be Star Wars. Oh man, Conan's bullshit.
True.
Chris?
Top Gun is bullshit. Thank you, that's been asinine.
This sucks.
We should be prepared for these kind of things.
This is asinine.